Hey Mob, just giving you a trigger warning and long post. Being upfront, this isn't to share for sympathy or, it's not to share for sympathy. I have strong supports in place and I'm being very proactive in my self care. And I debated for the last 2 days whether to share this, but I keep being called to share it. And part of the warrior heart philosophy and pedagogy is embedded and embodied Aboriginal principles of culture and well-being and showing up. And that means standing in your power, living your truth, and following your heart. I'll share the story first, and then I'll unpack the lessons that have come from this experience. So the complexities of being a woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, a visionary, someone who wants to have an impact in the world and create a better space for the next generation is fucking hard. It's complex, it's heavy at times, and sometimes I personally just want to run away from it all and go live in a mai on the river and just swim naked all day or diddy cookie all day. That's not the reality though. And then you add another layer of being a First Nations woman with fair skin and taking responsibility to show up and heal my own shit, heal my own trauma so that my kids don't become victims of that is not always the easiest thing. You wonder as a mother if you're getting it right, if you're messing your kids up because of who you are and what you do or what you're not doing. Trying to show up and keep it all together is hard, especially when you have a big vision and an even bigger heart and big dreams, but not quite sure how to bring it all together in a way that supports each other rather than weakens each other. And I saw a post from Nina Christian, one of my very dear friends, but a very wise woman in terms of thought leadership and stuff like that. She says, it's not enough to be, or this is my interpretation of her words, it's not enough to be a visionary. You need to have doability as well. Like, what's your doability part of your vision? Otherwise you end up, and what's your intentions and capacity? And I feel like I've been making progress, but I also have been feeling stuck and overwhelmed for a number of years. And I realized that looking back through my Facebook memories, sometimes they're a blessing and sometimes they're a curse. That I've been repeating the same sort of messages, not necessarily to the world, but to myself. But I haven't been listening and actioning those callings or that wisdom. And between holding positions in community, trying to step up to leadership positions, building my own organisation, trying to feed my family and put a roof over our head, trying to heal my own stuff so I can show up for my kids with love and integrity, has been us trying to understand how to do it all and be it all, not just for them but for myself. And what really made me realize, so when I get to this point and I get overwhelmed and I'm unsure as to where to start or how to kind of gain momentum, and I'm sitting in my trauma or I'm in a triggered state, my go-to is I feel tired and I have avoidant behavior, so I immediately want to nap or sleep, because my body's response is it just goes into shutdown under the weight and the overwhelm. But yesterday, when I was in the car and I had some really heavy thoughts, the the thought just so calmly came into my head of just drive in front of the truck, make it easier on the world and everyone else. I didn't action it, and the fact that it was there is a sign that I need to do something about it. So I reached out to, want to give a big shout out to Dixie Crawford and Bianca Hunt for your time today and being safe spaces for me to pick up the phone and be honest with it all, and being able to hold space for me, but especially you, B, being someone who's my big sister and basically my twin sister in life and soul, just go about things in a different way, to hold space for me today as a mother, as an Aboriginal woman, as a business person and a community person. I'm so grateful for you in speaking this truth. And I came down to country because I needed to be held today. The other day, all I wanted was my mum. I just wanted someone older than me to be able to run to and have them hug me, just so I could for 5 minutes take this cloak off and just put it all down and just kind of be in the space. I miss her more as the years go on, and as I was driving, wishing for her to be here, our song came on the radio, a song she gifted to me at 13, and that was her way of telling me she's here, she is holding me. So I came down to the river to let country hold me and just to listen, because country speaks, country heals. And after yarning with the sisters, the titters, and just sitting here looking at the river and listening, along the way I actually collected all these yellow-crested cockatoo feathers. And the cockatoo's always been a part of my life, and the message that I take from it is that the ancestors are there and that I am supported in all aspects of myself. But the weight and the complexity of showing up as a First Nations woman with fair skin, trying to heal my own trauma and manage my own shit so I can show up in my professional and personal spaces and responsibilities, trying to hold space for white conversations and then navigating, trying to get other people on board the visions and the work that I'm doing so that I can actually pay myself a living wage and support the work that I'm doing without having to wonder if I can pay my bills next week is something that I'm really working hard towards. We've got our gathering for the Killalana gathering coming up next month, and busting my ass to make that happen. And I'm not an event manager, so there's that as well, but busting my ass to find the partners to come on board to help fund it, which I'll share more in the coming days, is a gathering that we're planning, a Killalana gathering for up to 90 young First Nations women between the ages of 15 and 20 in March, to come together to learn about wellbeing, connection, entrepreneurial mindset, self-determination and sovereignty, and kind of honouring that self. But in order for me to show up to those spaces that I hold, I need to be showing up for myself and creating space for healing. So today I took a wellbeing time. I didn't worry about my to-do list. I just picked up the phone and called who I needed to call. And I'm taking this time. I think the biggest thing I've learnt from this is that there's a long way to go, and that's okay. I'm on the path and I'm showing up, creating magic. Our Little Titters program started yesterday, and these girls are powerful. They are so magical, and to be able to create and facilitate a space where they feel safe to show up and they feel nurtured and held is a privilege, and something that I hold, that responsibility I hold very deeply in my heart. And it brings me so much joy and strength to know that we are doing that and the team is growing. So I'll be sharing more about our growing team over the coming weeks as well. Other people who have come on board the Kilalana vision to see it come to life. But I just wanted to share this for anyone that is in this space of parenting, trying to impact and change the world for the better, carrying complex trauma and trying to heal that shit so you can show up. And even if, like, I'm learning how to be a business person, I've got things that I want to do, but I don't quite have the capacity or the resources to do it. I want to get back to jiu-jitsu and compete and pursue my dream of becoming a black belt world champion, because I know I have that capacity and that potential, and it's a dream that I wake up with every day, but my reality doesn't support that dream yet. I've got to make sure my family is financially taken care of, that we can be in our own house that is fit for the needs of our family, and that we have the financial stability and freedom that allows me to train jiu-jitsu and prepare for an opportunity to compete internationally and represent again. But it's not a dream I'm willing to give up on, and if it means funding that dream and backing myself, I will work to create a business that supports me too, that I can afford to train and still be there for my kids and the work that I do. I share this today in the hope that these words resonate, that it's okay and very, very normal to have heavy days, to have healing is not a one-stop shop. And what I've realized for me is that it's a trajectory, it's a journey, and as I heal one layer, I'm sometimes called into my shadow self to do that shadow work and sit with my darkness, and hold space for her. And as she's calling me to sit with my hurt child, my inner teenage Chantel, who's still very much there, and thank her for coming forward. But as I was heavy and lost in the storm of my hurt and my triggered state, I am thankful that I have the skills and capacity and the network and the supports now to make space, but I have the courage to sit with this and not hide from it. I can heal and hold space for this and still show up and do what I'm doing. It just varies day to day on what that looks like. So I'm sending big love to any of you mob that are showing up, changing the world, showing up for yourselves and dealing with your own shit and trauma, but are also making space for the heavy stuff. I see you, I value you. The world needs you, and to reiterate, I'm okay. I'm not okay. I'm in this, but I'm supported. I'm held by country, and I'm held by my family and my support systems. So thank you to those people. You know who you are, and nothing but love and respect for you, mob. And if you've listened to this or gotten any words from this, sending you lots of love and healing energy at this time. Yeah, it can be tough and complex being many things in the world and creating your own path, building your own legacies and showing up and doing that work. So the world needs us, but sometimes we need to be there for ourselves before we can be there for others. And this is me standing in my power, living my truth and following my heart, with courage and determination for the warrior heart.